Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Allpro podcast. We got a special guest in the building, and we're gonna talk to him. We'll let her introduce herself. We got Stacy. You can introduce yourself, man. We about to get it, man.
Yeah, I'm about to be a fanboy because this is my favorite defensive back at Florida State. This is the great James Colzie, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Welcome, man. Welcome to the show, brother.
I appreciate it. That means you didn't have very many people. Trust me, there was a lot of guys to choose from. I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that. But hell, there's a lot of guys you could have chose from that.
yeah. I know. You had Corey Sawyer, Clifton. You had Corey Sawyer, and all the rest of the guys. But you stood out to me. But I mean, for various reasons. I mean, we're gonna talk about the choke at dope game and all that other stuff. But we'll let Jody start you off.
Absolutely.
Hey, I see you. It's a rich tradition of cornerbacks that came out of Florida State. You got the Deion Sanders, Jalen Ramsey, the Corey Swords, the Terrell Buckleys. But like I said, you were one of those guys from '93 to '96 that made plays, and that was when y'all was really, really good.
Mhm.
What made you pick Florida State coming out of Miami? What made you pick Florida State?
Well, believe it or not, I coming out of high school, I played all three sports, and I didn't want. I knew I was going to have to give up basketball, obviously, because I was only 5'9.5". But I wanted to play two sports. So when I took my visits, all of my visits, Ohio State, Georgia, Florida State, they were the option to play baseball,
Okay.
right? So ultimately during this we're talking about, right, getting ready to be the mid '90s, and Deion Sanders is doing his thing, and I obviously wanted to be the next one if I could, and but and then Coach Andrews obviously had no problem with me playing baseball. Coach Bowden had no problem with me playing baseball. So I got the chance to go over there, and I got I played baseball in 1994. So that was
Okay.
the biggest reason around that time, right? I wanted to play football and play baseball, and Florida State was going to give me that best opportunity.
Okay. So you picked Florida State, and they got a rich tradition of DBs, and
Mhm.
y'all were really good. When you played, who was one of your toughest matchups that you had to go against?
Well, I mean, I would say during that time it was Florida, right?
Yeah.
And with Coach Andrews doing that, especially defensive philosophy for us, we played a bunch of man, right? And then when you got a chance to go against Florida, they would match us up just like we would match them up. So
Okay.
early in my career, you're going against Aubrey Hill, rest in peace, the great, the late great Aubrey Hill, and then my junior senior year, going against Ike Hilliard and Riddell Anthony.
Oh
Those
yeah,
guys, we got them and they got us. Over that 3 or 4 year, over that 3 or 4 year period.
Wow.
definitely, man. That's some major matchups down there. Uh, what was one of your most memorable moments? I know Stacy got some questions, but what one of your most memorable moments at Florida State? Like, what stood out the most for you?
Well, I'll say there's two things. I'll put it like this: and you asked me about our most favorable matchups, right? My
Yeah.
my sophomore, junior, and senior year, right? Going into it, and I obviously finally becoming a starter and being able, being around Samari Roll and Byron Capers. Believe it or not, the toughest people that we used to go against were our scout team receivers. We're going against Peter Warwick and Randy Moss and Don Lavernius Coles, and
Woo!
those were the guys. Those were technically scout team guys, right? And then I would always joke around that we would go against those guys during the week, and then we'd have to play Wake Forest or Duke. You know what I mean? So it was kind of hard not to be ready to go
Yeah.
against those type of guys, right?
Yeah.
Woo!
And those are tough matchups every week. But and that was daily, right? Now I guess most memorable moment. Believe it or not, people always mention the choke of the doke, but for me, my most memorable moment was my first ever pick. That was my true freshman year.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Because that's why I fell in love with you right there, right there.
Really?
And
Okay.
then,
All right.
who got I'm trying to remember who got injured to give you that shine right there.
Well, I backed up Corey Sawyer, right?
Boy, that's exactly what I remember. Go
Right.
ahead.
So we had a situation where early in the year, Corey Fuller tore his knee up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, myself, I was going in the red shirt,
Okay.
and because they had Clifton Abraham,
Yeah.
Corey Sawyer, and Corey Fuller,
Fuller.
and
Right.
then Corey Fuller played both, right? He
Yeah.
played both sides.
Mm.
So Corey, he tore his knee up, and that gave myself and Byron Capers an opportunity to learn and grow. Well, Corey Sawyer got hurt on a punt return. So I got an opportunity to play. I guess the rest of the third and all the way up to the fourth quarter. And got an opportunity to play. I played on a bunch of special teams. Throughout the year, and obviously during that time, we were blowing teams out. So I played a bunch. So it wasn't really that big of a deal to be in that stage because Coach Andrews would play us a lot to begin with, right? He felt if you earned the opportunity to play, we played. So my
Okay.
freshman year, going in there, I played every game. I played in
Yeah.
every single game my freshman year in some form of capacity, whether it was special teams or base defense or nickel defense.
Okay. So here's my question: what was Coach Andrews' demeanor like? Because he just looked extremely mean on the sidelines. Every time you see him, he looked extremely mean. Did he
Well,
ever get mad at you on a play?
oh, of course. I mean, Coach Andrews is so competitive, man. And, it wasn't just about a play, man. He wanted to make sure we competed every single play,
Mm-hmm.
every single day. And he'd get mad at you for giving up a curl route on 37, and they got 8 yards, right? It was he wanted to make sure he wanted to instill in us to always be competitive, and it wasn't okay for anyone to catch a ball on us, right? So that's how he was in practice. Therefore, that's how he was in the game.
So here's another question: would you attribute that Coach Andrews is the reason for the spread offense these days? Because that's what everybody's leaning towards these days.
Well, I mean, Coach Andrews, I don't know if I don't know. I wouldn't say he was the main reason, but I definitely he had a say in it, right? I mean,
Okay.
we played a lot of man to man,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And we played a lot of man to man. Everybody on our defense could run. Our safeties would play man to man. So Coach Andrews had his hand in a lot of things on a lot of things on what offenses do now because of how Coach Andrews used to play our defense, what we used to play defensively. If I know you guys watch a lot of football now,
We do.
but if we were playing a team like Wake Forest or Duke, and a guy would go in motion, we traveled with that. Where now, you do that now, that's hard to do. That's hard to even maintain, right?
Yeah.
The ability to have safeties cover slot receivers. Devin Bush, the Richard Coes, the Jerome Carters, all those
Yeah.
safeties that were
Yeah.
playing the slot receivers. Right now, they would not have that ability to play those guys because who's playing the slot now? Who's playing the
Right.
slot? These small, shifty guys,
Yeah.
right? So, Coach Anthony won't tell you that. He won't tell you this, but he played a lot in the way the offenses are being ran right now because you couldn't just line up and run at us or just run these basic concepts against us because Coach Andrews is going to put pressure on you. We were going to cover. We were going to cover you for the down. So you had to be inventive, especially on offense, if you were going to play against Mickey Andrews in Florida State.
Right.
Yeah, so you played the defensive back position, and if you watch today's game, who right now, in your opinion, is one of the best cover corners in football right now?
Well, I still think in the NFL it's a schematic game, right? You see a lot of corners have success with one team, and it might have been a zone or a quarters based team, and then they go to another defense where it's all man and they struggle,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then vice versa. You got a guy who plays man a bunch, and then they go to a scheme that because they're paying more money, right? They're going to go to a different scheme.
Right.
I'm all about a guy who doesn't give up anything, right? A guy who's consistent, who's playing with great technique, using his hands. I
Mhm.
love the guy. I love the guy at the Jets. Especially with his length, and the way he competes. I used to be a big Stephen Gilmore fan until he had to start playing man to man, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's hard for me to fault any guy that's playing cornerback in the National Football League. You know, you got to be really, really special. You got to be really, really good to just to be in that frame, just to be in that thought process, right?
Right,
Oh yeah.
because you coach
You
these
know,
dudes,
so
so yeah.
but if I'm gonna pick one, I'm always gonna go with Jalen Ramsey
There you
with
go.
him being a Seminole.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm a big Patrick Surtain the second fan right now. Like
There you
I'm on
go,
his
good player.
bandwagon right now.
He didn't go to Florida State though. You
Ah,
know,
you're
so
right.
he's already knocked down a couple notches, but hey, he's really, really good as well. Really, really
And
good.
you know what? Like I tell Stacy this all the time. Like I live in Ohio. I live in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
And I'm in Ohio State country up here. That's what we
Okay.
do. But y'all got this fan club up here for Florida State that I've never seen. It's a fan club up here. I'm like, how there's so many Florida State fans up here in Dayton, Ohio? Like you will come here and they'll know you and they'll know everything about you, man. Matter of
Really?
fact, we just had PK Sam on the show. I found out he lived right around the corner from me.
I didn't know he was in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Ohio. He's up
Gotcha.
yeah. So
Good, good.
so
Well,
let's talk
I mean,
about your
as you guys all know, I'm pretty sure as you guys all know, you know, a lot of times when Florida State goes on the road, there's more Florida State fans than the actual fans that are in that stadium.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it reminded
I
me
can't
of the
tell you I can't tell you how many times we went on the road. We had more fans in Maryland. We had more fans when we went to Wake. We had more fans when we went to Duke. What surprised me was one time when we went to Georgia Tech, we had more fans at Georgia Tech than Georgia Tech did, which I
yeah.
thought was a little bit odd.
Yeah. Now
Wow.
I would tell you when I was surprised when we played LSU in Baton Rouge last year.
Right?
We took that over.
Really?
We took that completely over.
Well,
Yeah. So this is what I want to ask you. What was Coach Bowden's impact on your life?
well, I can say this, man. I'm one of the rare people that had a chance to play for him, right? And then had an opportunity to be a GA for him. You know, and I got an opportunity to be a grad assistant there from '04 to '07. And you know, he was a strong man of faith. You know, but he also led by example.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and I remember him coming to my home, and this is 1992, December of 1992. Him coming to my home, talking to my parents, and he said to my parents that James Colzie will graduate if he wants to. Right, his job as our head coach was to provide all the resources for me, football wise and academic wise. Right, I played for him for 4 years. I
Mhm.
GA'd for him for 3. And anytime I called while he was living, anytime I called, we always spoke. Right, and that speaks volumes, man, for me. Like I played for him from '93 to '97. I
Mhm.
GA'd for him from 2004 to 2007, and in that time frame, if I ever called and left him a message, he always called me back just to check on me, ask me about my family. Right, and again, like that's just to me just showed how much
Yeah.
he cared about James Colzie and my family.
It's
It was
crazy. That's awesome because I told PK this. We had him on the show the other day. We told PK this when I was in foster care. I told you I used to live in Tallahassee for a little bit, and
right.
my foster home was the Florida Sheriff's Boys Ranch. That's not too far from
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And when I was there, I would write him because I wanted to come play with you guys. I
Right.
graduated in '93. I
Okay.
wanted to come play with you guys, and I would write him, say, I want to come play for you, coach. He never would give me a specific answer, but he would always write me back, and he just asked me how I was doing. There were times that he would write me to see how I was doing in foster care. A 12-year-old kid in foster care, that means the world to anybody.
Of
So
course.
kudos to Coach Bowden. Long live the king. That's how I look at it. Yeah,
There's never gonna be another one like him.
yeah.
Never. Never.
Amen.
Now I know right now you're an assistant coach at Florida A&M. I'm
Yes,
an
sir.
HBCU grad. I'm from Central State University.
There you go.
And how fulfilling was it to beat Jackson State the way y'all beat Jackson State this year?
Well, obviously, the glitz and the glamour of Dion not being there, right? And we had an opportunity to know that the roster was not going to be the same, right? We're watching them play, we're watching Colorado play, and that was half Jackson State last year. You know what I
Yep.
mean? We knew it was going to be hard for them to, emulate the success that they had the year before. It's a really, really big deal here at Florida A&M that we did win. right? And obviously, trying to win a SWAC championship, that that was one of the hurdles that we had to get over, right?
Yeah.
So, but with it also being in the beginning of the year, that also means that we're not done, right? We got to play Alabama State, got to play Bethune, we got to play Southern. There are a lot of people that we got to play before we can get to the biggest goal, which is winning the SWAC championship and then having the opportunity to play for a national championship right here in Atlanta, right? So,
Yeah.
excuse me, in Atlanta. So, hey,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, it's a big deal, but what it also told us was, we have a very, very good team, but the job and the journey's not done. We still got a lot of work to do.
Amen.
Yep.
So, Tallahassee is a hotbed for talent.
Yes, sir.
Why? I mean, I've been a FAMU fan all my life.
Okay.
Why can't we get the D1 talent to come to, you know, Division II schools like FAMU and other places like that?
Well, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, with us being at the FCS level, right? Everybody in Tallahassee, what's the first school they want to go to? Every single player in Tallahassee, what's the first school they want to go to?
They
Florida
want to go to
State.
Florida
They want
State.
to go to Florida State, right? And
Yeah,
and 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 now every year now it's only 25 guys. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's only
yeah.
25 guys, right?
Right.
So you do have a lot of universities that come down to Tallahassee, like just like you said, it's a hotbed of talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got a lot of people going to a lot of different schools from this city, right? So,
Right.
just like Florida State's got 25, we're kind of in that similar situation, right?
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I'll say this, and again, I'm just finishing my second year,
Mhm.
right? But like right now, we have a lot of kids that are either doing their COVID year, which ultimately gives them their sixth year. You get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? So we got, I mean, like Jordan Musa, he's been in school 6 years.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, the longer Jordan Musa's in school, it means that the longer his scholarship is going to be tied up.
I
You,
got you.
you know what I'm saying? So
I
it's not
got you.
it's not like we aren't getting guys. Like we just like, well, do we want to keep Jordan Musa for one more year? I call him K Dot. Do you want to keep K Dot for another year? That's number 10, our wide receiver, right?
Okay.
Do you want to keep Jalen Goss, who's been a 4-year starter at offensive tackle, right? So,
Yeah.
next year, recruiting wise, we'll have the opportunity to go after more players. But like
Okay.
we really didn't get many guys this year because we weren't losing very many guys. We
Yeah.
lost.
Understood.
I mean,
Understood.
well, if you look at our defense, we got one of the best defenses in the country, led by our defensive coordinator. We lost 2 players on defense.
Yeah.
We
Then y'all
lost two
have
guys.
Hand. Then
We lost
wasn't
Isaiah
Hand.
Landon, who's playing for the Colts,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
then we lost our other defensive end, who's the starting defense. Who's playing well for Jacksonville State. The other 9 guys are back,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
Offensively, we lost one guy. He went to the
Wow.
Rams.
Okay.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? So and you hear that, right? Oh well, family's not going after any Tallahassee players. Well, no, no. We've got a lot of guys that have graduated and have elected to stay to get their masters or do another year. So Coach Simmons has allowed them to stay on scholarship.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, so we're a veteran group. We're an older group. Got a lot of older players, partly because of the COVID rule. Which again, like I said, right, we're not losing anybody, so that means we don't lose any of our scholarships.
Yeah. So that could tie up things for a little bit.
Absolutely.
So
Now, next year, let's have this conversation. We might have a different conversation.
okay. Yeah. So I see you left a job in Canada to come
Yes,
coach at FAMU. Is that right?
yes, sir.
Okay. So I mean, you were a head coach there.
I was a head coach for 6 seasons.
Yeah. So I mean, how did they persuade you to come from overseas or from Canada to come coach back at FAMU?
Well, I mean, I saw it as a I don't say a better opportunity, but just an opportunity.
Okay.
From 1999 to literally 2013, excuse me, 2014, I was coaching in the United States.
Hmm.
Right. I got an opportunity to go to Canada to be a defensive coordinator at a university there.
Okay.
Right. We ultimately won the national championship that year, which then propelled me to become a head coach at another one of the Division I schools there. Right. My family's there. Believe it or not, my family and my 2 boys are actually still in Canada.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, they're still there. My oldest is a senior, and once he graduates, then everyone will move back,
Oh,
before being
okay.
able to be with me.
So
But
they wanted to stay.
yeah, exactly. So I had two other opportunities previously while still in Canada, and I ultimately decided to stay in Canada. This
Okay.
opportunity to me was a lot better than the other two. Opportunity to come back, get a, become a Division I football coach again. Great university. You've already stated. I was in Tallahassee as a player. I got the opportunity to be Tallahassee as a GA. So this is my third time here in Tallahassee. So it's almost my second home. It actually is my
Tallahassee,
second
your
home.
home now.
It's my home now, right?
I
So
know you're from the bottom,
oh
but
yeah,
Tallahassee, your home now.
but this is this the location, the university, the opportunity to come back, right? And it made it really easy. And obviously being with Coach Simmons, talking to him, his
Right.
goals, his vision of what he thought was this would be, it kind of made it a no brainer for me to do so.
Oh, okay.
So what are your goals at FAMU? I know FAMU they're about to be running the SWAC, and that means y'all gonna get an opportunity to play the winner of the MEAC, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's always been a battle, SWAC versus the MEAC. I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming from Central State, so we didn't get to play y'all guys and nothing like
Right,
that. But
right.
I like I said, you got a lot of veterans coming back next year. Like, what are your what do you want to do as a head coach? Do you eventually want to be the head coach, or you settling in as a coordinator?
Well, it's Coach Simmons always talks about being where your feet are, right? Right now, I want to be the best assistant head coach slash cornerbacks coach in the country. That's what I want to be, and if I do that and embrace that and make sure I do that to the best of my ability, there's a possibility that other opportunities will arise,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
I want to be a soldier for Coach Simmons.
No doubt.
He gave me that opportunity to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Canadian game is football, but there are some nuances, right, compared to to the American game, right? He
Yeah.
stayed with me last year. Gave me the opportunity to be where I'm at. He promoted me to the assistant head coach because of I guess because of the job that I had done last year. So hey, we win. We all know there's gonna be benefits to the success that we're having. So I want to make sure I'm the best assistant head coach, the best corners coach to Willie Simmons at Florida A&M. And like I said, if opportunities arise, I'll definitely make sure I speak to my head coach about those opportunities, speak to my family, and hopefully make the proper decision once it comes.
Okay, so just don't leave us for Alabama or the Gators or the Hurricanes.
Hey, well,
Just don't leave us there.
you better talk to Dion about that because if he keeps winning, he's gonna mess
Yeah.
around and be in Gainesville in the next 18 months. Mess
Dion is
around.
Dion is a trip, man.
Oh yeah,
So
he's
so
got it going.
look. So you also coached 4 player of the years in Canada. Tell us about that.
Well, again, I mean, I've been blessed, and not just in Canada, but I've been blessed to be around good people, good coaches, good players. But we won, right? And there was a reason why we won. We had the opportunity to recruit, bringing some really, really good players. They had success, and like, hey, when you win, they try to find out the reason why you won. Well, I had good players. That's why I had good players. I just happened to be in the right spot at the right time.
Okay. So you also mentioned guys like Randy Moss and Peter Warwick and stuff like that. I mean, when you guarded, which one was the harder guard in practice, and who did you hate to guard, and who was a little more easier to guard? So I want to hear this.
Well, first of all, none of those guys were easy. Okay, let's get that out in the open. All
Yeah.
right. But so we used to call Randy Moss the demoter. Okay, and when I say the demoter, right, that's short for demote. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if you messed around and went against Randy Moss on like Thursdays and Fridays, your butt wasn't gonna start on Saturday. You get what I mean? Because Randy Moss, obviously he had the red shirt that year. We all know the whole kind of the story with him,
Yeah, I remember.
right? So he would go against us. So he would take it out on us that he wasn't playing. So if you were going 1-on-1, you used to pick out who you were going to go against. On Thursdays, you'd be like, man, nah, I ain't going against Randy, dog. We ain't going against Randy. He gonna mess around. He gonna mess around and demote him. You know what I mean? We can't go against him. We ain't going against him. We weren't going against Peter Ward. So we would pick out who we were going to go against on Thursdays. But the toughest one was Randy Moss. His size, his speed. You know, I can tell you right now, Coach Bowden missed out on the national championship by
I
listening
think
to
he
Lou
missed
Holtz.
out on at least 2 or 3 of them
Well,
without Randy. I mean, even Snoop.
but obviously he made the promise to Lou Holtz to not play Randy Moss that year for obvious
Why?
reasons because we were playing Notre Dame that year. We were going to play Notre Dame that year, so that's the only reason why we were able to get him was Lou Holtz asked Coach Bowden to redshirt him, so we wouldn't play against him. Because there's no when you go back and you look at it,
Wow.
we played Notre Dame. We played Notre Dame in a home and away, right? We lost them in '93.
Yes.
Then we played them in Orlando in '94. That's when Randy Moss.
Yes, I remember that. That was you and Warwick Dunn's first season. Am I correct?
In '93, yes.
Yeah.
So
That was the game of the year, the game of the century. I'm sorry.
Well, one of the 19 games of the century that we had, right? Well, that next year was Randy Moss's the year he graduated, so he was going to come. He was going to Notre Dame. You know, he had the issue.
I remember.
So then Lou Holtz he was fair game. Notre Dame dropped him, right?
Hmm.
You know, but obviously the rules were a little bit different back then, right? As far as kids leaving, so you had to get released out of your LOI. You had to get released. Well,
Right.
you know, only way Lou Holtz was going to release him to Florida State was if Coach Bowden didn't play him, right? So Coach Bowden
That's interesting.
Coach Bowden agreed not to play him, right? So he didn't play in '94. Well, if he would have played in '94, because we got a chance to win back-to-back national championships.
You do. You do.
Because we used to call Randy Moss 14 points. We call him the motor. Danny Canal used to call him 14 points.
Danny
He was guaranteed to get 2 touchdowns. He was guaranteed to get 2 touchdowns that year. A game.
Right. So let me ask you this here too, because he gets, as far as receivers go and all of that, why does Kes McCorvey get left out of the loop when we're talking about great Florida State receivers?
Well, I don't think it's the fact of Kes McCorvey. I just think it's the fact of how many great receivers that have come out of Florida State.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you got a pretty amazing run out of Florida State right now. You know, and you got 2 guys right now at Florida State that are going to be playing in the NFL.
Yes.
Right? You know, Kes McCorvey comes by the office once a week or once every 2 weeks, and I used to tell these guys, man, this guy here used to run the best routes in the country. You know, and then went to the Detroit Lions. You know, at that time he didn't run a 4.3 or 4.4. So, you know, he wasn't a blazer, but you line up and try to cover him one-on-one, you couldn't do it.
Bro, he had to me, he was amply at wide receiver.
Oh, 100%. We didn't think he had any knees. We didn't think he had any cartilage in his knees. That guy used to bend us, man, and he would wait for us to look at the quarterback, and then he'd be 5 or 10 yards away, man. Unbelievable. One of the best route runners I've ever seen.
I'm telling you.
I've ever seen.
So let's go back to that game of the century against Notre Dame.
Yes, sir.
A friend of my brother's, they played on the same high school championship team at Live Oak Swanee. That's down the road from you guys.
Of course.
So Matt Fryer.
Of course.
Yeah. When Charlie Ward, I think he was trying to hit Kes, but Matt Fryer was open in the corner.
Yes.
What did you think when that happened?
Well, I mean, what did I think when that happened?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see that. You know, obviously they were going. Well, the way they were going,
yeah,
it was on Notre Dame's sideline, but obviously in their end zone.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. The student body. Yep.
Yep. So what did I think that happened?
Yeah.
What did I think?
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought we'd lose a game that year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You know, and then once it was determined that we lost, it was time to get off that field.
Yeah.
Obviously, we knew they were, big time game. They won, and then now it's time to get to safety, right?
Okay.
During those times when people rushed the field, there wasn't no cops around there. Only people that had cops was Coach Bowden. So they made sure he got off the field. Everybody else, you better get out on your own.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
How did
It's
you
ahead.
time
feel
to
about
go.
how did you feel about the rivalries against Miami, your hometown team? How did you feel against in those rivalries in those particular games?
Well, those are always game of the centuries, right? Those are always game of the centuries. Those are always where game day was going to be.
Mm.
We played Florida #1 versus #2. At our place, my senior year, you know, they were rivals for a reason. Whether we played against them, whether we played against each other in high school, and now we're playing against each other in college. The fans, they all went to school together. They just ultimately decided, there was much more to it than the football game, but ultimately it was the football game that brought
Right.
everybody together, right?
Right.
And it was, we respected the Canes. I can't say we liked the Gators, but they were always big time football games. There was always going to be lots at stake, for the winner or the loser of the football games, and ultimately we know they were going to be played on national television. So
Right.
you couldn't mess up, right? Or people going to be talking about you across the country.
So you the debate is, James, who is DBU? In your opinion, and I hope you say the right answer. And in your opinion, who is DBU?
Okay, well, who's what university has the DB the best has the DB that's considered the best of all time?
Florida
Oh well,
State.
man, there's absolutely no question. If you put it in those terms, it's Florida State.
Okay,
It's Florida State by a mile. But I
okay.
mean, I think, and then there's Terrell Buckley. You know what I'm saying?
People will forget Terrell Buckley had a better college career than Deion Sanders.
He did. He
People
absolutely
want to hear
did.
that. And again, Deion Sanders was special, right?
Yeah.
But hey, the reason why I chose Florida State was because of Terrell Buckley. Ultimately,
Yeah.
he was a smaller corner and he just made plays.
Gosh,
Yes,
he did.
football, baseball, 85 to 89. Deion Sanders, when I was in college, Deion Sanders was doing this thing with the Falcons and and the Braves, right?
Hmm.
But for me, right, Terrell Buckley, because that's who Coach, when Coach Andrews was going to recruit me, he said, hey, man, you could be just like Terrell Buckley. You could be just like him. Those were the people. Those were the examples that Coach Andrews used while recruiting me. You could be like Corey Sawyer, right? Because we all knew Coach Andrews was never going to compare anybody to Deion Sanders because at that time nobody was going to be like Deion Sanders.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but Terrell Buckley had 12 picks, won the Thorpe by by a mile, right?
Yeah.
And again, I thought Terrell Buckley was amazing, and again, he was one of the major reasons why I decided to go to Florida State. And then when Tamark Vanover brought that kickoff back against Miami, when I was the Miami recruit at that football game, and when T-Mark took that kickoff return back, I was sold. I was done.
Yeah. When you seen him brought those
Go.
kicks back against Miami.
I was
Oh,
done. I was sold. I was a recruit. I was a Miami recruit that game. And
oh, you
then,
were at the game that
I
time.
was at the game as a Miami recruit. I remember Florida State stretching, and then I remember them doing the ankle walk, right? The ankle walk they used to do before every game.
Yeah.
And then Coach Bowden had the band, used to have the band play Clint Eastwood, right? That, they used to do the do. I was like, man, I'm
Oh, they,
sold.
they did that. They
They,
did that.
oh man, they said, oh yeah, that was the deal. That they would stretch, they would do their thing, and then whenever they used to do the ankle walk, the band used to play Clint Eastwood. They did that. They did that while I was playing. And they even did that when I was a GA. They played that Clint Eastwood song, and then Tamark Vanover took that kickback. I was done. Miami didn't know it, but I was already done. I was going to Florida State.
Have you been around to Merrick before? Because he is funny.
Oh, I spent my freshman year, right? I got a chance to be around him. Obviously, he had the stuff going on, and he had to go. Then he had to train. He had to
Yeah.
go to Kansas
Yeah.
City. Earlier. But him and I, we Facebook message every once in a while. But Tremaine Reynolds, if he was fun, he one of the funniest people I ever met.
Yes.
You wouldn't think that, but he was a trip.
No,
He was a
he's a
trip.
clown. I told him I was going to come down and visit because I had a jersey I needed this clown to sign, and
Right.
I said, "Let's go." He wanted to play spades or something, and he
100%.
said,
He probably wanted you to bring some money.
Yeah, yeah. And I wasn't gonna do that. I'm not fixing to let you beat me in Tallahassee. And he said, yeah. He goes, yeah, come on down here so I can scoot your hairline
Oh,
back.
oh,
I'm like,
100%. Hey, T-Mark, we call him T-Mark.
yeah,
He was quiet funny.
yeah,
He was quiet funny. He was quiet, but he was a funny man. He's a funny
yeah,
man.
yeah. We like to clown. We like to clown whenever I talk to him. But let's talk about this choke at Doak.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I was listening to an interview with Gene Deckerhoff one
Okay.
day, and he goes, and that is the greatest commentator in football history to me.
Period.
Yeah,
Period.
he when they asked him what was your favorite play in uh in Florida State history, he says it's your play, the
Really?
interception. What have you heard him say that before? Or
I have. I mean, well, spending some time here back in Tallahassee, right? And it doesn't matter where I see Gene Decker off. He says that to me.
yeah,
He won't even say hello to me. I'll be like, hey, what's up, Gene? Picked off by Coach. He won't even say hello to me. That's his way of saying hello. But
hey, bro.
when I was in high school, I was getting recruited by Leonard Hamilton to play basketball.
Oh
And,
wow. Was that
so
in his Miami years? Or
when he was at Miami, right?
right.
Him and my dad are really, really close. I'll get back to the Gene Deckoff story because the
Okay.
basketball game has a lot to do with it. Well, I'm back in Tallahassee. I text Coach Hamilton, hey, listen, love to just watch a couple games, and Coach Hamilton, anytime they're playing at home and my schedule allows me, I'll go to a basketball game.
Okay.
Well, Coach Hamilton, he gives me the seats right behind him. I mean, I was expecting seats just by the scoreboard. Well, he ends up giving them right behind me. Well, there's always certain times in the basketball game you're standing up, and Gene was on the he was the basketball players line where they sit. Well, Gene's across on the other side, kind of in the same like seating area where I'm at, but just think on the other side of the basketball court. And so he recognizes me, right? And I see him, I give him the old, salute, and then he whispers to me, picked off by Colzie. Picked off by Colzie. I'm like, Gene, I love you, man. I love you. It ain't number 30 years, it ain't number 29, 28 years later. And
That's amazing.
he still says that to me.
Yeah, he's
Um,
forever the voice of the Seminoles. I hear the new guy. He just don't bring
ah,
that. He don't bring that heat like
all
Gene
right,
does.
all right.
Um, when you pick that off, I heard Brent Musburger's version of it too. He had it sounding super exciting too. Yeah,
Right.
so whenever you get a chance, Jody, go check that out.
I will.
Yeah,
For me, and I obviously I love to play, but I always tell people, hey, bro, I had 8 other interceptions while I was at Florida State, guys. Like that
yeah, we
wasn't the
seen that.
only one I had. People, I had one against Miami, I had Southern Miss. I have to like list off my other interceptions, and they're like, hey, Coach, we don't care about none of those. Do you
Yeah,
understand? Nobody cares about any of those. But I got a funny story about that interception that people don't
yeah,
really
tell
know
it.
about.
Let's go. I want to hear it. Let's go.
Okay, and it dates back to the details about Coach Andrews.
Mm,
Okay, and so if you remember the play, I start up. When we were playing Florida, and this was the day of when you press and when you press a receiver, the type
mhm,
of route that you're going to get, right? So we against Florida, Coach Andrews wanted us to show press and then back out right before the snap so we can confuse them. Which
mhm.
ultimately we did because if I would have been pressed, we would have got a corner route. But since I backed out, Warfel thought he was running the receiver was running the corner route, but then ultimately the receiver ran the post. That's why there was nobody out there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, based on the alignment, da da da. So this is all Coach Andrews teaching us, telling us what to do, how to do it, and then perfecting what he asked us to do.
Mm,
Okay. But during that play, right, I got a minus on the play. Like, so with Coach Andrews, it's all about having, you start the play and then you end the play. If there's any mistake during that, you're going to get a minus. You get what I'm saying? So my
okay.
minus was looking at the quarterback. Like, again, details, making sure you're doing everything right all the time, right? So everyone goes crazy about that play. Like you mentioned, you talk about it, but I got a minus on that play, right? And I had to run a gasser because I got a minus on that. I'm like, coach, like I got the choke at the dope. I
Yeah.
don't give a darn, Colzie, what you got. You got a minus because you had bad eyes, right? You had bad eyes, right? And then you should have got a penalty for the celebration after the interception. So
Yeah, who was
again,
that tripped you down when you caught that?
that was Sean Hamlin. Hamlin was like,
that
man,
was
Colzie,
Hamlet.
get
That was
off
Sean
the field. Colzie, get off the field. I'm like, bro, I can't get off the field. Like I'm having an out of body experience right now. You know what I mean? But then I get there Monday. I gotta run a gasser for that play. I
Oh
gotta
wow.
run. Everyone's going crazy. I'm like, man, hey man, don't tell me about that play, man. I gotta run a gas for that play. What are you guys
So
talking
who
about?
were you matched up against on that play?
That was Ike Hilliard. That was Ike Hilliard.
Yes.
I
Gee
kill
whiz.
you. Okay.
Ike
Gee
Hilliard.
whiz.
Ike Hilliard. So we baited him a little bit. You know, if you ever, again, I haven't looked at the play in a while, but if you remember, if you notice the play, he throws to nobody. Right? There's nobody over there
Right.
because my alignment told him that they run the post. It told the receiver to run the post, but then I back out. So the receiver sees me back out. He runs the route that he thinks he's supposed to run, or Warfield thinks he's going to run the corner route. So that's why he throws the ball out there. Right? And again, that's all Coach Andrews. That had nothing. Yeah, I had to catch it, but Coach Andrews sat us in the room, said, this is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. Got the pick. Everybody's going crazy. Yeah, we tied the game up. But Monday, fellas, I had to run a darn gasser for that play. So you know what? Screw that play because I had to run a gasser for it. I got a minus on that thing, guys. I got a
Wow.
minus.
That's incredible. He had you on a merit system like that.
There's no doubt. Coach Andrews is about details. Got to be perfect in the beginning. You can't not be perfect in the beginning and not be perfect at the end. You have to start perfect. Therefore, you could end perfect as long as you use his teachings in between.
Absolutely. Anything you want to ask him, Jody?
Man, I just, when we talk about all these Florida State guys, and I'm starting to get a little jealous because I'm an Ohio State guy, man. I love talking to you guys, man. Y'all have some of the best stories, coming out of Miami. And you said you went as a Miami recruit. Didn't like the U was that thing down there, and
Well,
you right there.
it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned Ohio State, and this is I'm gonna age. I'm not gonna age anymore. I'm gonna start talking about my family. Well, you're a Buckeye fan. My uncle was a 2-time All-American at Ohio State.
Really?
So you look up Neil Colzie, and he was a 2-time All-American at Ohio State. So
Okay.
and so he went there in the late '70s, and he was a first-round pick for the Oakland Raiders. Well, during his recruitment, because my family's from Miami, right? Well, during his recruitment, he got some bad vibes at the University of Miami at that time. You get what I'm saying? So I was never going to Miami.
Oh,
I was
okay.
never going to Miami. We don't. My family. We hate the Dolphins. We hate the Heat. We hate the Panthers. Even Messi's in Inter Miami. We hate Inter Miami. We don't like nothing affiliated with any Miami team. So when if I was gonna choose a school, right, I would have ultimately chose Ohio State coming out of high school.
Okay.
Right, because of my uncle, right? But they want, I took an Ohio State visit primarily for football because of my uncle Neil. I think was it Cooper? John Cooper was the head coach.
Yeah, John Cooper was there then. Yeah.
And Chris Sanders was my host. I know you probably remember Chris Sanders, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I was going. I was ultimately going to go, and I took my visit. I took my visit during early in football season. But then, getting a chance to go to Florida State, and then Coach Andrews coming to recruit me during basketball season, then ultimately made my decision to go to Florida State in February. So, Miami was never even like my high school. I went to South Miami Senior High School. That's where I graduated from. South Miami Senior High School is 4 minutes from the University of Miami. It's 2 left and a right, and then I'm at the University of Miami. I never even thought of going there. I wasn't going to go there.
Wow.
My second option was Ohio State by far.
No doubt.
I shocked people by probably going to Florida State
Well,
because
we're glad you
of being
stayed
Ohio
here.
State crap.
We're glad you stayed here.
Me
Thank
too.
God you stayed here. So,
Me too.
thank God you stayed here.
Now they struggled. Hey, they were struggling when they had Jim Cooper. They weren't. You know, it wasn't. They weren't. They were good, but not necessarily where they needed to be around that time.
You know what, James? It wasn't far as he was a heck of a recruiter because you got to think about guys that we had. We had Terry Glenn,
Oh,
Eddie
no, y'all were
George.
good. They're
You know
great
what I'm saying?
players.
We were getting Boston. We got D. Miller.
Yep.
You know, Ricky Duntley. We had a lot of studs up here on defense. We had Sean Springs and Antoine Wingfield Jr. Senior. So like we had guys, but we couldn't beat that team up north for some odd reason. He was 110-1 over his. I don't know how he kept his job that long. He kept us out of 3 national championship games.
I was about to say that was 5 more losses, and he probably should have had his job. We all know if Coach Bowden would have went 110-1 at Florida, he would have been here that darn long.
Could have been gone.
Yeah.
You know, anybody dealing with rivalries, 110-1, wow.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you. We'll ask you a couple more questions. We'll get you out of here.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So what are the expectations for the Rattlers this year? I mean, what are your records?
Well, I mean, you know, we ultimately wanted to go 2-0 our first 2 games, right? And I'll be honest with you, man, we had a great opportunity to beat South Florida. We left that. You know, you guys have been around football long enough. You turn the ball over 5 times, you ain't gonna beat nobody. You're not. We're not gonna beat FAMU High if we turn the ball over 5 times.
Right.
You know, we played West Florida this past week, got ourselves back on track. You know, they picked us as the favorite, right? So that means every game we play, we're gonna get that team's best.
Yep.
Right. So
that's true.
you know, we got some games we got to go on the road, play well. We can get beat. We got Alabama State this weekend. If we don't play well, we can get beat. Right? We got Southern. We got to go to Southern. If we don't play well, we can get beat. Right? So, you know, we're gonna try to take it one day at a time. We want to go 1-0. We want to try to go 1-0 every week. If we can do that, you know, we got a chance to be 10-1, host the SWAC championship in Tallahassee. And you know, I like our chances if we get to that point. But bottom line is we got to get to that point.
We're coming down there if y'all get that far. We're coming to support you.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I know some people that might have some tickets.
All right. Well, come on. We got you.
Hey, I'm on the first thing smoking down there, man.
I might know some people. I got some tickets for you.
We got you. Anything else you need to ask him, Jody?
Man, I like I said, the same thing with FAMU, man. I like the way that the momentum they're going in. And do you ever foresee any teams in the SWAC perhaps getting to the D1 level? Or is that something in the makings or something that they're trying to just keep it at the SWAC level?
Well, I mean, I think everybody wants to play at the big stage. You know, you would always want to be an FBS, you know, Division I program. You know, right now we're a really, really good FCS program. We should have went to the playoffs last year. We did not. But now this year we have the opportunity to win a SWAC and play for a national title, right? You know, I think you know you win and continue to improve the product. Other conferences may come calling, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, again, you can only be where you are, right? Do where you are. Just make sure you're doing that extremely well, right? There are HBCUs that are moving up to different conferences, right?
Amen.
So, you know, are we ready for the Power 5 next year? Probably not. But you know, if we have continued success, do well, you know, and the way this realignment and the way this college football thing is going, where everybody's going everywhere or having the opportunity to go everywhere, you know, if the product is great and conferences see that, you know, ultimately, I think you got a chance to maybe see some expansion into some other conferences. But let's just be great in the SWAC. You be great in the SWAC, then you can open up those other conversations.
Amen.
Hey, dominate the SWAC like y'all been doing it, man. Just keep dominating like y'all did to start the season.
Absolutely.
But we want to thank you for coming over, man. And I've told people this for years, and people thought I was crazy. This is my favorite defensive back at Florida State, and that's on the that's on the life of anybody I've lost in my lifetime. This is my favorite defensive
I
back.
want you to know two things. I appreciate that. That's the first thing. And the second thing is I need you to raise your standards. Okay, bud? I need you to do that. I need you to do that.
Hey,
Hey man,
James,
hey guys,
he's not lying.
I appreciate you on this, guys. I really, really do.
Yeah,
He's
man.
not lying. He
Well,
texted me that. He texted me
yeah,
that about a
yeah,
week ago.
Oh,
He
yeah.
texted me that.
he did. He texted me that too. So if he tries to take it back, I can screenshot it and send it to the people. You get me? He told me that too. So he can't take it back now.
But
All I'm saying is he just needs to raise his standards. That's all I'm saying.
you're great, man. So, anything else going on that you would like to tell us about? Any business
Oh
ventures?
man, just hey man, just keep the Rattlers in your prayers, man. We're the guys are working hard. We got practice at 6 o'clock in the morning, and make sure Florida State don't trip up on the road, man. We got to
I'm
stay
telling
strong.
you,
We got to
God,
stay strong
Lord.
across the board. Hey, but listen, good teams find a way. Trust me,
Amen.
good
Yeah,
teams find a way.
we're gonna support the Rattlers like we support Florida State and Ohio State
Well,
over here.
No doubt.
Ohio State, I need them to play somebody every once in a while. And
Whoa. Oh.
hey, but you know
Hey,
what? You
we
playing
gotta
the
go
big.
to Notre Dame. We going to
Hey,
Notre Dame.
you playing the Big Ten. The only thing you can do is play who's on the schedule. That's all you can
Hey,
do.
they going to Notre Dame. My good friend Marcus Freeman is the head coach. So, we go back and forth with that one. So,
Really. Hey,
hey.
he's doing a great job too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, man.
He's
Good
doing a great job
guy,
too.
man. Real humble guy, man. We went to church
I just
together.
don't know. I just don't know if they're as talented as Ohio State. Ohio State's got some dudes, man. Hey,
Amen.
they got
Yeah,
some
but
dudes.
like I said, I hope we can pull out. Florida State looking real good. I like Jordan Travis. I think he's a first round talent, man. He's a first round
Absolutely,
talent.
absolutely. I got a chance to see him around one day, and he reminds me a lot of he's a guy that's got leadership. He knows what he wants. He knows what the team. I got a chance to go to practice. He runs the show, man. He's what you want as your starting quarterback.
Amen. So we ask a favor of you, man. We want you to come back and keep us mid-season updated on FAMU's status and stuff like that, and send the elevator back down. We would like to have more of you guys on the show so we could talk about the good old days. I'd love to have Randy Moss on it.
Go, hey, and he's a talker. He ain't got no problem with it. I promise you that. The guys I still keep in contact with on a regular basis. I talked to Andre Wadsworth yesterday. Talked to
That's
Workdone
who we
last
need.
week. So we still keep pretty close contact. On a regular basis. Not every day. We all got families and and everything that we take care of. But those guys are still kicking around. We still love Florida State. Our group text is always filled with 93 players because we came in together. So any of you ever want any of those guys, let me know. And
We want all
Yes.
of them. We want all of them.
Yes.
We
okay.
want
Where
all of
Charlie
them.
Ward at? Where
And
Charlie
Yeah.
Ward at, man?
and you're gonna I'm gonna let you guys go. I get a text from Charlie Ward every Sunday, and I have to screenshot it just to make sure that it's Charlie Ward. You know what I mean?
He emailed me.
He
He emailed
did.
me about 3 years ago. He emailed me about 3 years ago because I wanted him to do a motivational speaking
Okay.
about to my kids, my youth foundation.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it when you want me to do it." And I haven't heard from Charlie ever since.
Really? Well, hey, so 2 years ago, and this is my last story, but 2 years ago, they put my dad in the Hall of Fame. They put my dad in the FHS Hall of
I
Fame.
read that. I read
Okay.
that.
So Charlie Ward is there. Charlie Ward is there. And again, I haven't seen the last time I saw Charlie was on the like as far as seeing him with my own eyes was when he was playing point guard for the Knicks. And I and I
Wow.
Yeah.
and I, and I was at a Miami Heat game. Now again, on TV saw him, we follow each other on social media, et cetera, et cetera. I see him. He's like, Colzie, we gotta take a picture. I was like, Charlie, I was getting ready to ask you the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, look, Colzie, hey, call me anytime. And when I played, Charlie was really, really quiet. He's still quiet, right? But
Mhm.
I was a freshman. We didn't speak to Charlie. We were just happy to be in his presence, right?
Wow.
And I'm joking a little bit, obviously, on it, but either way, right? So I go to Thomas County Central. That's the high school that he went to, because that's one of my
Yeah,
schools that I recruit,
Thomasville.
right? So I'm driving down to school. I make a left. and I make a left on the Charlie Ward Way. You get what I'm saying? So I was like,
Wow.
you know what, man? Let me just call Charlie just to say, man, I'm on your street, man. And, congratulations. And I go and I remember I was with another one of my coaches. I'm like, look, I'm just gonna call him. It ain't like he's gonna pick up anyway, but I just want to leave him a message to tell him, hey, look, I'm on your way. So I call him, and he picks up the phone. I was like, hey, Charlie, what's up, man? Like, this is Coach. He's like, Coach, he's like, Coach, I got your phone. I got your phone locked in. I had to I was stammering a little bit because I didn't think he was gonna pick up the phone. But ever since that phone call last year, we shoot text to each other. We talk. He came to our practice as an invitation. During the fall. So you don't really people don't really realize that this guy's won a Heisman Trophy. He's a two sports star, first round pick for the Knicks. And the way he carries himself, you wouldn't even think that one bit.
Yeah.
And every time,
Yeah.
win, lose, or draw, he shoots me. Myself and him and Coach Simmons were on a group text. He texts me after every game.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
We
love Charlie. First hero. Yeah.
He's the GOAT. I mean, one of the best to ever do it. One of the best to ever do it.
I'd argue, and I'll let you go after this. I'd argue he is the greatest college football quarterback of all time.
Well, I ultimately, I don't. You're not going to get any, nothing from me on that because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, because these guys right now wouldn't even be who they are without Charlie Ward.
I'm correct. Totally agreed.
If Charlie Ward was playing right now, he would have been the number one pick in the draft last year.
Yeah. But I seen the way Kansas City Chiefs, the only one that wanted to take a chance on him at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's another story.
Yeah.
That's another conversation.
We got to have you back, James, and we want to thank you for everything you have done, for your 23 years of coaching, for everything you have contributed to the game of football. We love you, and go Rattlers.
Hey, listen, guys, I appreciate this again, man. Looking forward to doing it again. Really, really soon. Hopefully we're 5-1 or 6-1 the next time we have a conversation.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you back, brother.
Hey, guys, appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
It's been a definite pleasure for me, man.
Hey, thank you, man. All
right. All right, that was amazing. That was super amazing. You going to sign off on anything, bro?
Hey, I just want to send my thoughts and prayers to running back Nick Chubb. It looked like he had a devastating knee injury. Somebody sent me a screenshot. They didn't even want to show the replays on TV. My thoughts and prayers definitely go out to Nick Chubb, a great guy, man.
Amen.
Very humble, but it do look like his season will be over. And running backs are, that's why they don't want to pay running backs, is because of the they can be injured like this, and he's definitely on IR. But his thoughts and prayers are definitely, going out to Nick Chubb and his family.
Hey man, that's devastating, and those ACLs are very hard to come back from. I mean, the only one I've ever seen do it with the quickness was Dominique Wilkins, and that was in basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So definitely, heart goes out to him and his family at this moment.
But if anybody can do it, it would be Nick Chubb. He's a workout warrior, man. So anybody can do
he's a Georgia guy. He's a Georgia Bulldog guy. So yeah, he'll come back. They don't recruit. They just grow running backs there. So I mean,
right.
So with that being said, bro, I mean, like we said, this is another great podcast. Like Jody says, you'll never know who we'll have on here, man.
You never know.
Definitely, we want to continue to surprise you every week. So just keep looking for us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right.
All right. Peace.